This video was made possible thanks to my amazing patrons at patreon.com/magicalhacker. If you're not a patron and you would like me to make a video for you each month using your decks, become a patron today. Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of something pretty cool this time. I've got someone here with me that I think you'll be very interested to meet. Why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself?
Hey, my name is Arthur. I go under the name Senior Edificer online on Discord, Twitch, Reddit. I have a Twitter account, but I don't ever use it. Yeah.
All right, cool.
Yeah, go ahead.
Cool. So I've got Arthur here, and he's one of the masterminds, I would say, behind this really, really interesting website that, unfortunately, I don't hear too many people talking about. This is commanderspellbook.com. It's got a Discord as well, and if I'm wrong, correct me, but it started out as a Discord originally. Is that right?
Correct. February 2nd of this year, 2020, I put together this Discord server to see if I can garner a bunch of combos from the Reddit/Discord community at large, or the Magic, like the Commander community that happens to be on Reddit and Discord.
Yeah, and I'm sure before you kind of undertook this whole project, it seemed like, yeah, you know what, a couple of combos, it's not going to be that hard. But maybe as time went on, it was like, dang, Magic's got way too many combos.
No, I definitely knew this was going to take a lot of effort. I've had this idea for a few years, and even before the whole shelter-in-place thing hit the U.S., something in my head was like, this year you have to do it, because it was one of those ideas that was just keeping me awake at night, and enough different pieces about it had finally clicked in my head on how to get this up and running that I decided to just pull the trigger and spend my free time doing it.
Yeah. And I think, honestly, I think this is a great project. I'm looking at this and I'm thinking about how much this is going to change the way that I do deck building. I can only imagine for so many people just who play Commander across the world, being able to go to a website and look up combos and even filter them by the colors that you've got, filter them by the number of pieces that you'll need for these combos. I think this is such a fantastic website, and I'm excited to really delve into it and talk about this, because I think this is going to be something really interesting, especially for people who are watching. So, which came first? You said the Discord came first, and then the website came afterwards. Yes. How did they come about? So you said it was an idea you had for a long time.
So I'll give you the story of it. So I won't tell you when I started thinking about it, because it's a little embarrassing how long it took to get to this point. But So background about me. So I'm a software engineer by trade. I've been doing it for about a decade. But I do mobile development. I make iOS apps for a living. I work for a big company. I've been doing this forever. But I haven't done web development in forever. So one of the things that has kind of kept me from putting this idea together is I just didn't know modern web development. I didn't really have the inkling to learn. I'm married. I have 2 kids. I have a lot of other stuff on my plate. So I wanted to figure out a solution that would work. So I started seeing a confluence of people that I respect in the competitive EDH or CDH community on Reddit and on Discord, and a couple things clicked. So what clicked was all the people making combos, which happen to be Spike players, which are more or less CDH players, are on Discord all the time.
Right.
And around January of this year, I heard about a Discord called the Commander Library, which Shaper Savant, who I think everyone in the CADH community knows, he maintains it. So he, essentially what it is it's a Discord of Discords. It links all the other Discords that are either for specific commanders, specific guilds, specific play styles, and there's other pieces of information that are content creators. There's feeds that push all these videos up. Let's say you were to post a new video feed, I think you're in there too. It'll automatically just ping a specific channel dedicated to you, or Playing with Power, or the other channels with that information. So I'm like, oh, cool, you can use Discord this way, right? I never thought about it. I'm like, and so I was thinking about it in my head, and I'm like, you know what? There's enough people in here that what happens if I start by asking the community to submit their favorite combos? So I would say one of my strong suits in my real life outside of Magic is organization and keeping plans and projects on rails. So I sat down and kind of devise the architecture for what this would look like.
Right.
And so on the way, Discord has limitations, right? There's only so many things an individual can do with different moderation powers. So I figured, why don't I create a Discord channel, and in this Discord, I have a different channel for every single color combination, right? So there's 32 of them or more if you include colorless. And then I'll have some special channels for specific combo lines, like Hulk piles, pod lines for like Blood Pod, Vanifar, Kiki Jiki, Splinter Twin lines, and so on. And then it was trying to recruit people. So I just went on Reddit and said what I was trying to do. I added the initial like 20 or 30 combos just to get some content in there. And I said, hey, I'm building this thing. Are you interested? If you are, come join me in this Discord, thinking other people would join this Discord and start submitting things. And over time, as people joined, other opinions came in, the rules formed, and I think we garnered something like 3,500, 4,000 combos.
Wow.
Over the course of the last 6 months, which now is on the website. We're actually about to finish migrating all the combos that we have, and we have another 100 in our backlog of people who've been submitting it over the last couple of weeks. Combos that we haven't even reviewed.
Wow.
So that's the basic idea of how we got to where we are. And I can go into detail if you want.
Yeah, that's just such a huge number. I can't even imagine, 4,000 different combos.
Yeah. So it's like there's a lot of them that are exactly the same with a different card changed. So there's this idea that we have called like a combo shell. So you have a couple cards that you can use, and then you just change, let's say, the sacrifice outlet. Like as an example, if you replace Ashnod's Altar with Phyrexian Altar or Altar of Dementia, an outcome changes from infinite colorless mana to infinite colored mana to infinite mill, respectively.
Yep.
So we have a lot of that going on.
Yeah. I guess that's one thing I think a lot of people who maybe tried to do something similar to this in the past, they kind of failed. They were trying to, I don't know if you remember back when MTG Salvation was a forum thing, where they tried to keep track of combos as well, but they were saying, this card plus sack outlet. And then they let you, look at what the sack outlets are, but they didn't go into it specifically because sometimes you needed a specific sack outlet. Sometimes not all the sack outlets would work.
Exactly. And actually this was the reason I was wanting to build it this way, right? So all these other projects that started that have tried to do this over the last decade is one individual that maintains a list in a forum post or on a website, and they have to manually review each combo, add it in, and then it's up to them to figure out what level of detail they want to go into. And they'll burn out, right? I burned out very quickly at some point, and I had to take, thankfully there were other people involved, so I could just take a breather before I came back and did some more. So my take on this was, rather than start with one person getting combos, it was get the community interested, because the community is interested and it's a worthwhile project. Then the people will build on it itself. And at this point, I haven't really added more than a couple combos in the last couple of weeks. There's enough people on the server now that just do it on their own free time because they believe in the project.
That's such a huge like life force to any project, is when it's not just the one person, it's a group of people who all are passionate about that topic at the same time. And I can definitely see how that has really helped it. So, of course, there's a huge community that helps bring in combos, but were there other people who, did more of an administrator role or maybe a moderator role in kind of helping to build stuff as well?
So there have been, I would call them, originally I would have, I guess, referred to them as second in commands, but I consider them to be equals at this point, at least the current set of people who are admins.
So you guys are the Senate.
We are the Senate. Yeah, we're a tribunal. There's three of us.
Okay.
I always kept it at three because I needed to have an odd balance of people when we voted, and we voted on things all the time, and I've lost a few times. So originally there was two individuals that started with me. There's a guy, Discord name was Zyphyx, Zyphyx, and another guy named Untraceable Z, or Taylor, I think is his real name. So the three of us were essentially like, Untraceable helped me set up Discord with all the moderation stuff because he runs the tabletop MTG simulator, which was like a 800 or 1,000 person Discord. So he had a lot of knowledge and was really passionate about this idea, and was like one of the first 50 members. And was like, I can help you if you give me some mod permissions. And he helped get everything set up, helped me build the rules. He helped everything get up and running, and to him, I'm very grateful.
Okay.
And then another guy, Zyfix, he was the one that kind of made me believe that this was a good idea, because you always need that first individual that is as passionate about this as you are, if not more so. And he was the one who added the next 100 or so combos. Like, he would review submissions, add them in, give ideas on how we should further the site and go from there. Afterwards, I'm not going to go through the whole list of people, but afterwards, he burned out a little, and as did Untraceable, he had his own things going on in real life. And we ended up cycling through some people, and now the current triumvirate is myself, a guy named Andrew Berger, and a guy named Goldshot, whose real name is Aton. So the three of us have essentially been keeping the ship afloat. And I think Goldshot is someone who joined in the last month, has essentially added 2,000 combos on his own into the website.
Wow. Oh my goodness.
I mean, it's like I might be undershooting that number or overshooting it by a little bit, but it's like, thanks to him, our website is full of data. So we've actually split the roles as follows. So Andrew and I, at a point it was just the two of us. Andrew would review all the combos, and he would add them into the various Discord channels before the website came. Like, he did the majority of that. I stopped because I didn't have time, and we have a special role called editors that were formerly known as professors, because we had a different theme. We had a themed Discord. They would do a lot of that as well. I shifted to building this website. And now the role is, Goldshot is essentially like taking care of the Discord and everything that's going on in there. I am in charge of making sure the website is working, is fast, efficient, and Andrew's coming in and helping whenever he can, due to life circumstances.
Okay. So you've really followed that mantra of, if you build it, they will come. That's where you've gone to now. So I'm really excited about this. I think for a lot of people, they might look at this and not really be able to see how much work goes in behind. But I can definitely say I can see how much has to actually go into this. I mentioned this when we were kind of talking beforehand, but I have a list of 2-card infinite combos, and I keep that with me and I keep that up to date. And I kind of stuck at 2-card infinite combos because I felt like those are the most reasonable ones to look at. Sometimes when you go up to 3, 4, or 5, depending on what the cards are and how redundant they are, sometimes it's not really as useful. But I always looked at my list that I had of just 2-card infinite combos and thought, man, how cool would it be to include 3-card combos where the 2 cards are available in the color identity of the 3rd card if that 3rd card is a commander. So sure. I was thinking about adding that to it, but man, it is just such a hard task to go through and look through even just all the commanders and add that in. So I can only imagine how hard it must be to add in. I'm looking here at the website. You've got 2 cards, 3 cards, 4 cards, 5 cards, 6 cards, and 7-card combos. So it is definitely like a Johnny's dream come true when you get up to that number 7, and it's certainly a Spike's dream come true when you get down to that 2. So
yes. So there's something to be said about that.
Yeah.
We have some clauses about the rules of what kind of combos we submit. We've had some really janky combos that are submitted that we at some point were like keeping it under meme, but it got so large that we're like, why are we spending our time? Why are we wasting our time reviewing this stuff?
Right.
So we've kind of locked it up as like the magic number is 5. If you have to do a combo with 5 cards where one of them is either your commander or a land or something like that, is fairly doable, especially if you have tutors or ways to filter or wheel your deck.
Right.
And the thing that we noticed is anything that's greater than 5 usually is extremely hard to pull off unless it's something like, I think, Fibblethip or Doomsday or something where all the cards are in your library, right? So all you have to do is just not draw that card and your combo will work because the combo will let you draw into that card. So we decided 5 is about the magic number. The website supports 10 because of this weird way that I built it, but we can also extend it if we want to. But of the 4,000 combos we have, I think we only have 1 that's at 9, maybe 2. And
wow.
And those work. I forgot what they are, but they work because you only need like 2 cards in your battlefield or in some zone that is in your library.
Interesting. So this is, I think, one of the areas that we kind of approached this differently. For when I had built my list, I didn't include cards that you didn't need to have in your hand or on the battlefield as part of the pieces. Like you said, if they're in your deck, then you just draw into them. And so that was kind of the idea that I approached it. Looking at how many cards you need to have the combo work, and then you have like a prerequisite. You have to have this in your 99 at some point, but you don't have to have it to start the combo. Right. So I'd be interested to see maybe where there are some things maybe that fell through the cracks. I know at one point people were talking about alluring combos with the 2 recruiter cards, the tutors. I wonder if that ever went
Yeah, I
to
think I
the
know what you're talking about.
yeah. Those are some really interesting lines that require you to have a lot of cards in the library. But to get it started, you only need Allurin on the battlefield and one of the 2 recruiters, so the recruiter of the guard or Imperial recruiter.
So we don't actually have those combos in here, and I know we've already gone through Green, Bant, Selesnya combos. So
It might be. So when I did it, it was only available for like 4 and 5 color decks because of what type of cards you needed in the deck in order to win with it. But I mentioned this. I don't know if it was to you or if it was to one of the others, maybe to Aton, I think. Mm-hmm. But one of the things I would like to do one of these days is to go through my list of 2-card combos and then compare it to what you guys have. Because personally, one of my favorite parts of the website, and I know I'm going to be in the minority for this, is being able to go to your Google Sheet. I love using that because I'm a huge Excel spreadsheet kind of guy. So that's my plan is to kind of go through there and see where there's overlap and where we differ. So if you kind of mentioned that you were looking at doing this for a while, was there any project that somebody else had been doing or some idea that you had that kind of inspired you?
Yeah, so outside of the Discord, which helped me realize that you can actually build you can leverage the community through a chat program, right? Because I use Slack at work, which is very similar to Discord. It's just so I'm used to what the powers of what Slack can do, especially in a remote only environment for the type of work that I'm in.
Right.
I was like, you can do the same thing with Discord, and Discord has a lot of more stringent moderation policies, and you can gamify it, right? You can entice people with different colored roles or different permissions and stuff. So I kind of turned it into an exercise of how do you grow an organization and how do you manage it? Because I'm a manager in my real world career. I manage people. I'm like, how can I practice those same skills on a bunch of people I don't know that are passionate about the same thing? Right, so I literally tried a way to take something out of it. And I learned a lot. It's actually funny. I brought this up to my boss, who's a gamer as well, and him and I were talking about this. And when I told him I grew the Discord to 5,000 people, he was like, "How do you deal with that?" And I'm like, "It's it's not 5,000 active members, but it's there are some nuances to deal with so many different personalities where you never can see the person's face and you have no idea what their age is."
Right.
But to answer your question, because I diverged. So there is the CEDH deck list database, and what clicked in my head was they use an Excel spreadsheet as their backend. They use Bootstrap, which is I think they use Bootstrap, which is essentially a website out of a box. It's a template that lets you build a website with very little code. You just have to know how to code to use it, but it has a lot of pre-built user interface elements like buttons, search boxes, etc. And I'm like, well, I know enough HTML, or I remember enough HTML to put this together. So I kind of learned how to do Bootstrap. I took a look at their code, which is freely available. So if Average Dragon, the developer of that website, ever sees this video, thank you. It was an inspiration. It was that database. I didn't, I first copy pasted the code and then I modified it, but then I'm like, you know what, I got to do this from scratch. So I used it as a template to prove out the concept for myself, and then I built it from totally differently.
Yep.
And that's how I got it working. Between Shaper's Discord channel and Average Dragon and the CDH decklist database, I was able to put this idea together because I had all the pieces kind of clicking in my head.
Yeah, and you know what? I think in a lot of ways this makes a lot of sense. I'm surprised nobody did it earlier. I remember maybe 5 or 10 years ago, very shortly after I got into the game, I had a friend who he was into programming, and his focus was on website development. And I hope I'm using the lingo right, because I'm super green when it comes to this type of stuff.
Don't worry about it.
And that was his thing. He was really much into web development. And I said, I would love to be able to build a website where you can search for combos. So unlike Gatherer, where you just search for cards, I would like to be able to search for combos and have the combos where the results, you've got a drop-down menu of results, what type of result you want, and then you could search for that result. And he said, yeah, that sounds great, but that takes a lot of work. And so in a lot of ways, it just kind of, I was stuck with the idea, nowhere to go, but here, you come along and you build this thing again. Build it and they will come. So what do you think about the community? Do you think they're going to is the community going somewhere different now? Is it going somewhere new? Do you think
Yeah, so we are trying to actually grow the community now. So first we were trying to get combos, so we got combos. We have more combos in one place, I think, than any other source online. So
100%.
Mission accomplished. 100%. So we're now trying to continuously have people trickle in. So we've been essentially growing with every social media boost. So every social media boost has brought anywhere from 500 to 1,000 people, and we have done it 3 or 4 times. And like I said, there's someone new that joins that kind of sits above the rest. So in this last group was Goldshot, who became an admin very quickly because of just the amount of like passion and activity he brought into it. So I think in a month he was able to grow the idea of this vision, and that's what you need. And that's what I'm learning through this experience is there's always going to be a couple people that statistically come out of the that are going to be passionate enough. You just have to allow them to grow and do what they want to do, and then listen to them and have their ideas heard and go from there. So the next idea that we have that both Andrew and him had are the website's effectively done. There's a few things I can add here and there, but it works. Is let's do contests to brew combos. And so we put out a survey. We had a few hundred responses maybe, and the survey essentially yielded that people would be interested in seeing to have contests around combos for old commanders, new commanders, spoiled cards, and in general, it's like for everything, right? There's like almost an equal distribution between. There's only a couple percentage point difference. So one of the things we're going to do, and we haven't figured out how, is we're going to have some kind of prize support. I might fork over like $25 at least for the first one, because we don't have ads or a Patreon or anything, at least for now. And we just might say, hey, whoever brews the best amount of combos the most amount of combos that we accept gets raffle tickets maybe, and then we'll randomly draw a couple numbers and those people will win something. I don't know. Maybe that's one way of doing it. We have no idea, but contest is definitely something we're going to do because for this website to be useful, we need to continuously add data. And I don't know if you ever watched the Tolarian Community College, but as the professor said, there's a new set effectively every week. So there's new there's new cards or reprint, mostly reprints, but whenever there's new cards coming out, there's going to be things we can do. So the first new set that we were around for was Ikoria. That was the one that came out, I think, in March.
Yeah.
So we got like 50 or 60 new combos, but the card, outside of Kinnan and a couple other cards, they were like, they weren't really great combos. We ended up nuking half of them after we kind of settled on what our rules were. But what we can do now with the website is I can actually create a filter where we can just have a link that people can save. And as we add combos, they can just look through the website and be like, oh, there's this cool combo with this new card in Zendikar Rising that's coming. So we are now prepping for how we're going to deal with Zendikar Rising.
That is
and
super
my personal
cool.
Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, that is super cool. To be able to see cards and combos as they're discovered, that is just epic, I think.
Yeah, it is. I mean, I have a far-fetched dream for where I would love for this to go, but I don't think I'm going to be the one that takes it there.
Well, you never know. You were talking about a couple of people that had already burned out, but it's kind of like this. Everybody has to manage their own rate of burning, so they don't burn out. They can kind of smolder through.
Yes.
But maybe do you have any advice? How do you not burn out in a project that you're passionate about? And this is something that kind of applies to anything. How does somebody manage that?
Well, I can put my manager hat on and say, take a break. Something I do every day. Now that I'm fortunate enough to have a job where I can work from home, is I take. I live in a neighborhood where I can easily walk. So I take some meetings when I walk. I easily walk like 15,000 steps a day.
Wow.
Yeah, it's like I got an Apple Watch just to track like all my health metrics at this point.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I just take a lot of walks. I meditate a little bit every day. Actually, I have this little thing I do with my daughter right before bed when I put her down. There's this little meditation app on the watch where it's just a little flower that blooms. So her and I do a breathing exercise. So that kind of helps. I look forward to that the nights that when I put her down.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's just like playing a video game for a bit, of which surprisingly I don't do too much of. I spend a lot of time with my wife when we can. Just anything that isn't related to this, and I let my brain think, right? Something I've learned over my 30 odd years of life now is you just need to separate for a while.
Yeah. I think that's a huge thing. And I know some people might be watching this and think that's like either A, too cliche, or B, a cop-out, but I think it's neither one of those things. I think there's a lot of value. Yeah, there's a lot of value to, you mentioned taking a walk. I also 100% agree. And meditation. I think a lot of people hear that and they think, oh, that's just voodoo nonsense. But, science is really coming behind that too. So
I used to be that way too, but I learned, I learned over time, and due to life circumstances that you just need to do it, right? You can't do everything. You can't know everything.
Mm-hmm.
It's impossible. And trust me, I've tried. It's just not possible. It's wonderful what your brain can do when you're not actually trying to think about it. In a past life, I studied physics. And there was a lot of problems I got stuck on, and you have no idea. I can't explain to you how many times just stepping away from that problem or just sleeping on it, I would wake up and I would have the solution in my head and be like, wow, I cannot believe I wasted 3 hours yesterday. Well, it wasn't a waste, obviously it worked or something. That like I literally woke up and the first thing in the morning I was like, yep, that's the answer. Wow, it's so easy. What the hell is going on?
Right. I need to send you a paper that kind of changed the way I thought about it, where they had two groups of people. They had one group of people study really hard to figure out a very difficult math problem, and they told them to not be distracted, to focus on that math problem. The other group, they gave it to them for a couple of minutes, say, hey, kind of take a look at it, but afterwards you're going to take a 20-minute break, and then you're going to come back to it. You're going to do 20 minutes, and you're going to do like just a puzzle, something relaxing. And the people who took that break solved it much more quickly. And I thought it was it was a life-changing thing, that the fact that our brains have a back burner, that if your front brain can't figure it out, your back brain can find it out. Yep. And I think it's huge. So I feel like I've talked to you a lot about this website and a little bit of your life. But what about Magic? When did you first start playing Magic?
The first time?
Yeah.
The first time was in 1997.
Wow.
A couple friends I was 11 years old. So in 1997. I had a couple friends in, I guess, middle school that introduced me to Magic, and we went out and I got the Portal starter set, the first Portal starter set, which was, I think, 2 35 pre-made decks and a booster pack or something.
Huh.
And it just, I remember the smell of those cards. Old Magic cards have this smell. I remember the smell. I remember the way the feeling had the cool artwork, and I don't think I played the game right. I just had no idea what I was doing. And then I think I played for 6 months or 7 months through the release of Exodus. I just remember this. I remember the icons, so I had to look them up not too long ago. And I'm like, yep, that was Exodus. And I was like, so it was like the Mirage block and the Tempest block, and I only remember those two sets.
Oh, you were around for the best part. That's what I keep hearing.
Well, I don't remember any of it at all. All I remember is I had those cards, and when I got back into Magic, which was about 3 years ago, September of 2017. My brother had told me that he had thrown away all our Pokemon, Yu-Gi-Oh, and Magic cards.
Oh,
and
no.
I'm like, I know the Pokemon cards are worth money because we had, first editions of whatever. Because we had, and I'm like, whatever, you get over it.
Yeah.
At the end of the day. Anyway, so I got back in 2017. I think I saw a video online or an ad on YouTube. I think my ad blocker was off or something, and it happened to be, I think, Jimmy Wong, who I didn't know at the time was Jimmy Wong from the Command Zone, who's doing like a 5 or 10 minute intro video to how to play Magic, and I was like, oh, this is kind of cool. And he was teaching Commander. I think it was him.
I think I know what you're talking about. I think that's there was like a show called Spellslingers, if I remember correctly. I think that's what you're talking about.
Maybe it was something, but I think Wizards was also touting it. I'm mixing things up at this point. It's something. I think it was something with Jimmy Wong. I think.
No, I think you're right on the money. I think exactly that's what happened. But again, it's been a while since I've seen that too.
Yeah. So let's say it was. Let's say you and I are in agreement. I was like, oh, it looks like fun, like the idea of playing Commander or doing this. And I had played Hearthstone, and I played Elder Scrolls Legends, and I played Eternal for a little bit. So I played all those games. And I was like, I really want to play Magic, right? That started all of this. I might as well try again. So I looked online at different formats. I found that I had an LGS 5 minutes from my house, which I didn't know because I live in a suburb in the middle of, not nowhere, but like I didn't expect to have one.
Right.
And I walked in one day, and they were super welcoming and friendly. Gave me a couple starter decks. Told me to buy, if I wanted to buy a good deck, it was the Vampiric Bloodlust Commander deck, right? Which was Edgar Markov, which ended up being a great buy, right? It was a lot of fun, right? So I played that. I played it horribly because I didn't know all the rules at all, but people were really welcoming, and I started playing then, and I started brewing like crazy, and that's all I would think about if I wasn't working or with my family. That everyone gets that mindset at some point. So I've been playing for 3 years on and off just because, real life. and I don't play that deck anymore. I actually sold all of it at
Oh,
some
well.
point because I realized I don't. Yeah, I realized I don't like playing token decks.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was fun. Yeah, it's fun. I play in a league. It's a league for prizes. It's once a week. Haven't played since this all started, so I miss it. But that's what I do.
It's been a struggle for a lot of people. Some people say like the only reason they're playing is because of everything that's going on. Some people say that the only reason they stop playing is because of everything that's going on. So there's a lot of flux right now. But would you say Commander's your favorite format? That was going to be my next question for you.
It is my favorite format, and sealed, like limited sealed, is my next favorite. Like on MTG Arena, it's pretty much all I play.
Is sealed?
Yeah, oh my god, I played Ikoria sealed to death. I must have gotten most of the cards in that set just because of the amount of times I played it. It was a lot of fun, right? I think sealed is the most amount of fun next to Commander, because A, it's not broken, and B,
everybody's on a
you don't have to go through the arduous task of deck building, right?
Yeah.
I like deck building to a point, but I just want to play, and I don't want to get stuck in that exercise of like tweaking a deck and then playing the deck in your head or goldfishing it online. I just want to play.
Yeah. When you're stuck kind of like building it forever, you don't have the opportunity to play as much as you want. So I definitely see where you're coming from there. Do you have
buying like 300 cards for a 100 card deck because you realize that the deck is going to be better if you do it this way without ever testing it in real life.
Yeah, it becomes so hard. I totally understand that. I think that's one of the reasons why personally I like playing on Magic Online more than in paper, but I mean, it is just tough. So here's, I guess, another question that I have. Do you have maybe one or maybe a couple of favorite commanders that you said that you kind of sold some stuff, but if you could build anything that you wanted right now, like what commanders would you say would be like in your top, 5 or so?
There's a story for why I sold everything. When I was afraid my LGS was going to go out of business like everyone else was, so I sold all my cards to them except for one deck. So it was like a few hundred cards, but there were a lot of high value ones. Like I had a lot of extra fetch lands and shock lands and a bunch of stuff that I was like, I only need 2 copies of these ever, really. So I sold everything, and I just gave store credit, and I still have a little bit left. I've been buying things slowly, but the decks that I have are the ones that I actually maintain in the CADH database. So I own the Una Consultation primer and deck.
Oh wow!
And I've only got to play it like a few times. So there was a few other people had it. I think Sleepy, Always Sleepy, Wiffle Bat, Unbound. I forgot their names. I'm sorry, I feel bad. But they had it. I joined the Demir EDH Discord channel, and I had presented them my take on it, which was a Tainted Pact, Demonic Consultation, Thassa's Oracle deck, and that didn't really exist. They had more of a Storm deck, and I'm like, I think this is more packed and efficient, and they agreed. They helped me kind of flesh it out a little bit, and I've been fleshing it out since then. And it's great. It was actually played on the Play to Win channel a month ago. They actually featured that deck. Yeah, they played 3 rounds. It was like, who's the best Spellslinger? And it was my Una deck. So it was pretty cool.
Yeah,
to see that happen, because I haven't really played it too many times.
Awesome. So you would say Una.
Una and Corvault. I have a Corvault Food Chain deck too. That's also in the deck list database, but it's an alternate deck. But my favorite commander, the one that there's 2 commanders that really got me into really liking Commander. One was SRAM, Senior Edificer, which is why I chose that name. I really like the idea of being able to draw cards in mono white. Yeah. And I love the idea and the artwork behind the Mirren swords, like the Sword of X and Y cycle. So I had a deck that I call pretty much like the Mirren Swordslinger deck. But it turns out SRAM is just a horrible artifact deck. It's equipment deck he's much better at in auras, but I still played it that way.
Yeah.
And my other favorite deck was Mariki Rebarret, which is a very old commander.
I love her.
She steals creatures.
And then you have like the whole untap shenanigans where you like untap or destroy and stuff.
Oh my god. That deck made me love Magic because I have an L1 at my shop, and the types of stacks that I would create with that deck, like the length of the stack that would have to get resolved, the things that we would do, like imagine doing like Mariki Rebarret, stealing something, then you Mirage Mirror something, then you untap something, and you're just sitting there, and he's like, okay, let's play this again. How did you do it? What ends up happening? How many Marikis are on the field?
Oh man. But see,
it was fun.
That's what makes Commander so great, I think, is you can do all this crazy mental gymnastics work in order to really show your skill at the game. You don't have to do that as much in other formats, in my opinion. I think the other formats, you have to think about other things, but you don't ever have to like juggle a million different things all happening at once. So I kind of
and that's the fun of it, right?
Yeah,
that's why, as much as I love playing this game, like I play an X-Mage. I have a Mac, I have a couple Macs. So I can't play MTGO effectively, even if I emulate it.
Right.
So it's fun playing it online, but it's not as fun as real person because the mistakes also make it fun. It's like catching people, like it's trying to play like perfect like judge magic, but also knowing that like people are gonna make mistakes. If you have like 30 cards on board, some of them you have all these dice and half the same, all the same dice represent either +1/+1s or tokens. And you attack or whatever. You're like, what did I just do? Like, am I attacking into a bird token or am I attacking into a +10/+10?
Yeah, exactly. And a lot of people, I think, don't like Commander because it's so complicated. But yeah, for the people who enjoy it, that's one of the things that they really enjoy. And of course, you were talking here about some of your favorite decks being CEDH. And of course, CEDH is very well known for being in combos. So it's kind of tying everything in. Do you happen to have any favorite combos? And are they related to your decks?
Yeah, so my favorite combo is the first combo that I ever came across, which is a non-deterministic combo, which is Phoenix, God of the Dead, and Eater of the Dead.
Oh, such a classic.
Sorry, Phoenix, God of Deception. So,
yeah,
do you know this combo?
Yeah, I love it. But go ahead and explain it for those people who might not have heard of this.
So Eater of the Dead is a creature with an activated ability that costs 0. And it has a pretty big butt. I think it's like 4. Right? That's its toughness.
Wait, hold on. Before you do that, why don't I just look it up on the website? I've got it open here.
Yeah, please.
Yeah, so I'm going to go ahead and look up
I'll do that too on my end. So I'm not going crazy. I'm not making stuff up.
Yeah, so, and it's super simple. I love how, this is such a silly thing to like about the website, but I love how you don't have to press enter. You just type it and it automatically gets that for you. So it's almost like once it picks up what you're trying to say, you don't have to keep typing. So I really like that.
Right.
But, so the combat.
I'm glad you do.
Yeah. Do some people not like
so
it?
It is. There was definitely one. There's always that one person that was like, "Why can't we just push search?" I'm like, "Why don't you just let the website automatically do it for you? Like, what's the intent?"
Yeah.
Anyway, go ahead. It's if you want, I have it in front of me too. It's up to you.
Yeah. So Phoenix, God of Deception, and Eater of the Dead in a blue and black combo, and it fits into blue and black with Phoenix as the commander. So
which makes it easy. So it's you got to draw one card, which you can tutor for.
Yeah, with black, or if you want to like mill it from your own deck, and then once you find it, you reanimate it if you have plenty of reanimate effects. So yeah, the steps here is you tap Eater using the obtained activated ability from Phoenix, milling your opponent for 4 cards. So yeah, Phoenix giving that ability to make target player put the top X cards at the library, where the X is the creature's toughness. And then Eater of the Dead, super old card. I don't even know when this is from. Do you know how old this thing is?
No, I have no idea where this is from. But I'll look it up real quick.
Maybe the Dark, I would assume. I have no idea.
But you are right. It's the Dark.
Oh, it is? Hey! I don't know. Just something about it made me feel like it kind of looks like
it's on theme.
Yeah. So it has this ability where it's very oddly worded. I wish they would reprint it so that we could get. Is it on the reserve list? I hope it's not on the reserve list.
I don't remember. But you know what? What we can do is we can read on Scryfall. You can just read the
if it's the reserve
modern.
Yeah. So you can put one creature from any graveyard and exile it, and you untap Eater of the Dead. So if you manage to exile something for free, you get to untap Eater. And you can't.
So in other words, if you mill a creature in those 4 cards, at least one, you can untap. You exile that creature, untap Eater, and then you can tap it again to mill another 4, and you do it until either you've milled your entire table out, because you can target different players per mill.
Right.
If you're playing it. So, if all you have to do is find a Timmy player and you win.
Who's playing the most creatures, right? That's the question.
Exactly. Who's playing green?
Yeah. So I definitely see exactly why you like this, because it's such an odd card. And I think that's what happens when you've got 2 cards that are kind of odd and they don't really combo with anything else, but they just like fit perfectly like a key in a lock.
Yeah. And they were made by accident, right? Phoenix came out, 20 years later?
Yeah, they were not thinking this at all.
And that is the thing that made me fall. Like, Phoenix was also a commander I really liked, but I realized, I think I went through the thing every player goes through in the beginning. I was like milling. I'm like, I don't know what all the cards do, so I'm just gonna play mill or wheels and have everyone not play their cards, not realizing that is not a good way to. There's no real easy way to mill out an entire table without infinite mill combos, and this is not one of them.
This is non-deterministic, like you said.
Right, yeah, because you don't know how many creatures are you gonna mill. You might never mill. If you play this in CEDH, you will lose, not because of how slow this is going to play,
because nobody plays creatures.
No one plays creatures. The average deck has like 5 or 6 creatures,
right?
And they're like Spellseeker, Thassa's Oracle, and a couple others. Notion Thief, and the Mana Dorks. But this isn't the best combo though. This is the one that really got me into into really enjoying combos. The one that I love that I've never played is Lethal Vapors plus Teferi's Protection.
Oh, that is a cool one. Yeah, let me go ahead and pull that one up.
If you just type that in, it'll automatically find it.
Yeah, it's also got here Grand Abolisher, but I've seen it. It also works with Croson Grip, which I don't know if you've seen that version. I got to submit that one here.
That might be one we need to add. Yeah.
Yeah. So the one with the Grand Abolisher is a little bit more simple because you just have Grand Abolisher on the battlefield. It prevents people from activating abilities during your turn. So when you play down the Lethal Vapors, which allows you to skip your next turn for 0 mana in order to destroy it as an activated ability
for 0.
Yeah. So if you play the Teferi's Vapor, Lethal Vapors, and then Teferi has some vapors too. I just wanted to let you know that. But then you play Teferi's Protection, you will basically protect yourself until your next turn with Lethal Vapors, get infinite turns, and with Grand Abolisher prevent somebody else from also getting infinite turns or activating Lethal Vapors.
Prevent them from interacting with you. So I think the basic idea is Grand Abolisher's out, no one can cast anything on your turn. You activate Lethal Vapors infinite amount of times, at least greater than the amount of cards across combined with your opponents, and then you cast Teferi's Protection to phase out. Then your opponents have to finish playing the game. So if none of them are playing with an alternate win con, like Thassa's Oracle or Jace or Lab
Approach of the Second Sun,
Approach of the Second Sun, things like that, they're going to deck themselves out before you phase back in, and then you phase back in and be like, "Hey, remember me? I win."
Yeah, I think you probably win while phased out, right?
Yeah, you win while phased out, and you come in and be like, "Here's my trophy. Here's my prize money. Here's my booster bag for winning."
Yeah.
So this is why I think this is the best combo, because this is like the epitome of the broken jankiness of 25 years of Magic, or almost 25 years of Magic.
And so or
almost 30 or whatever we were.
Yeah,
we're almost 30.
I think we're almost at 30. It's just a couple of years, and we'll be there too. The version with Croson Grip, it replaces Grand Abolisher, so a little bit of rules lawyering has to happen. So maybe it's not as fun because you have to kind of argue with your table that it actually works that way. But you cast Lethal Vapors first, and you have 6 mana for Teferi's Protection and Croson Grip. And so then what you do is, if nobody responds to it, it resolves, and you've got priority. So at that point, you cast Teferi's Protection, and in response to your own spell, cast Croson Grip.
You just have to have a legitimate target for it, like an artifact.
You actually cast it on Lethal Vapors. So I'm sorry, you play Teferi's Protection, and then...
Oh yeah, it's an enchantment. Yeah, that's clever. Yeah, that's very clever.
So you've got Teferi's Protection on the stack. I'm sorry, I'm kind of skipping ahead here, but you got Teferi's Protection on the stack. In response to that, you pay the 0 mana to the Lethal's Vapor. In response, you keep holding priority, keep responding, and at the very top of the stack, then you put the Croson Grip targeting the Lethal Vapors. So it's the same idea. You do have to have a little bit more mana because Grand Abolisher you can get down a turn earlier. But yeah, imagine that one. Like, I'm doing this whole thing because I can actually hold priority. Imagine your opponents being like, no, you can't do that. I have to respond at some point.
Yeah. The beautiful thing about this combo. Yeah. The beautiful thing about this combo is if you're playing white, you're playing Grand Abolisher. If you're playing casual EDH, which the vast majority of people are, you're playing Teferi's Protection if you can afford that card, right? I'm going to say same thing with Grand Abolisher. Right? I don't think it's been reprinted anytime recently. So the only thing you have to add is one dead card in your deck of 99, and in casual it doesn't matter. So Lethal and it just enables this janky win out of nowhere that you will remember that time when I came in and I won, this game because of this.
Yeah. Well, I might have. So I know this is more of an interview for you, and I get to ask you questions, but I might actually be able to change your mind here. I don't know if it's on the website, but I'm going to double check right now to see, because if it is, I'm gonna kind of talk about it through what it says here. But let me just double check. Let me see if the Carevex Spite combo is on here. Do you know about this one?
I don't, but I'm searching for the word spite and nothing's popping up, so I'm assuming it's not.
So here's how it works, and there's a lot of weird...
What are the cards that are involved?
So the cards you'll need are going to be Carevex Spite, You're going to need Academy Rector. And then you're going to need Baron Glory in the deck.
The fact that Academy Rector is one of the cards, I'm like, I can only imagine what you're going to be doing right now.
Yeah. So Baron Glory being in your deck, as long as it's in your 99 in your library, you've got Academy Rector on the field. You cast Karavik Spite. It's a really old card, 3 mana, instant speed. You make somebody lose 5 life, but it has a huge additional cost to it. You have to discard your whole hand, and you have to sacrifice all permanents you control in mono black.
Okay.
It's a very strange effect. But when you do that, if you have an Academy Rector on the field, that means you get to get a free enchantment from your deck onto the battlefield. Well, since you've got no cards in hand and you've got no permanents, if you choose Baron Glory, you see where I'm going?
Yeah, that is amazing. All right, so after this call, we're done with this interview. I'm going to add the Cross and Grip and version of the Lethal Favors combo in this one into the database.
Oh man,
these are great. See, these are the ones that I want more of, and the ones that are still efficient, meaning that they're like less than 5 cards or 5 cards.
Right.
And I don't care if they're dead cards; they're just fun, right? Because then you can build that Orzhov or Abzan, what's it called, meme deck, where you just have lots of random dead cards. But if you draw the right amount of dead cards, you win through some meme of a combo.
So that was going to be like my contribution of just really janky way to win. Now I wish I could say I can take credit for that. It was not my idea. It was in an old video. I think I remember seeing it on Commander Replay's channel. It might have been on somebody else's channel, though. I can't remember exactly. But yeah, it was on some content creator's channel, and I just was blown away. That is such a sweet... Because you're using Baron Glory. You're never going to win with Baron Glory. It's like such a ridiculous card to ever include in your 99. And then you're playing...
also don't want to draw into it either.
Yeah. And then you've got Karavik Spite, which is horrible. Like, there's no reason to ever want to be paying that additional cost. So... yeah, that's the one contribution I could think of like janky combos. And I knew you'd definitely appreciate that. So
I can just see like Dark Ritual into Karavik Spite with Academy Rector on the board.
It's wild. It is totally wild, but man, I will have to say it has been a lot of fun talking with you, talking here about the website, talking about all the stuff that you enjoy about Commander. So thanks so much for taking time out of your busy schedule to join me here for this discussion.
Yeah, thanks for doing a little visual virtual video op-ed about this little project of ours.
Yeah, looking back, maybe I should have kind of integrated the website more into our discussion, but I think it's fun. People get to see it. They get to see the URL and kind of see how it works as we work through it. So again, thanks so much, and thank you to everybody who was watching. I hope you guys had a lot of fun talking here with Arthur from Commander Spellbook, and I will see you guys later. See you later, Arthur.
See you later. Thanks so much.
See ya.